Your breakdowns are your breakthroughs. You know that? The moments where you feel the worst, where you feel everything is falling apart and that you can't anymore. Those are the most potent moments, and you don't want to miss them, or you don't want to waste them. That's probably the better word here. Welcome to Podcast Connected. My name is Maria, and in today's episode, I want to talk about why breakdowns are the breakthroughs, why they are the most potent moments, why they are the moments that you don't want to waste. And as always, I'm going to talk from my own experience, and I'm going to share two biggest breakdowns that became breakthroughs. Um, let's dive right into that because I think from sharing, when we share with each other, we can, everyone can find something that resonates with you and that connects with you. It's what can give you the spark and the idea into your life. And that's what I want. That's why I'm recording this, because the breakdowns are hard. The breakdowns are not comfortable. The breakdowns are difficult situations where it shows us many things about us, about our circle, our environment, and so on and so on. So there is a lot to handle, but it also has a great potential. And very often it happens for a reason, it's just not out of the blue. So the first one I want to share with you is when I got so burned out that I got to the point where I shut down everything in my life completely. So let's unpack this situation a little bit to give you and paint you the picture. I was building a company where where I believed I'm living my purpose, and I found it very important what I was building, and I wanted it so much, and I was pushing so hard for a couple of years that I was obviously in this regulated nervous system in the survival mode. Back then I didn't know that it was about nervous system regulation. I didn't have this information. It was many years ago. Anyway, I got to the point where I really got so burnt out that I couldn't anymore. And those of you who have been there, you know that if it's really hard, this is the moment where you can feel it emotionally, physically, in all areas completely. So, if I would want to describe it the best way possible, I would say I felt dead by being alive, like the body was functioning physically somehow, even though with pain and stuff. But I felt like that, It's like there isn't life anymore. There isn't that life force anymore. And it's very down, down, down feeling and state of being. And it happened because I was pushing so much that I completely lost myself. I lost Maria in the company. She dissolved there in the project. And I came to the point where I couldn't anymore because I was so down and I felt it in all areas that I really had to make a decision, and I made the decision. I made the decision to save myself. I've made the decision to save Maria. And in order to do this, it required to end everything else completely. So I did in my life something that was like a hard line, and I got rid of everything material that I had in my life. Of course, I got rid of also other things or people or environments that I didn't plan to, because the situation became so hard and harsh that, of course, those are the situations where you find out many things that you weren't ready for or you didn't expect, but they happen. So I lost many people. I left environments. I left certain circles. Um, so, long story short, I got rid of everything material, right? Apartment, car, everything, including the company. And the company was in a stage where investments were flowing, also my own investments, my own money. And it wasn't at the stage where the investment would be back. So, of course, I made the decision that I'm closing the company without having the money back, which means literally I created a debt for myself. But I had to do this because I wasn't able to keep moving forward. I wasn't able to function anymore. I wasn't able to move my mind and brain anymore. I mean, if you've been in a complete burnout, you know what it is. So it wasn't possible. In order to save myself, I had to do that. And I did it. So I ended up with actually donating very many things, which was also another lesson for me to learn. Because, of course, in that moment, it would be nice to have some additional incomes, but I was just gifting people with things that I was giving away and donating. When I look back now, it was like, wow, what mistakes, what self worth and what was the imbalance that I kept producing for myself, not giving to myself. That's why I ended up without any life force. So I had it completely everywhere. Anyway, I ended up packing one suitcase and leaving to a remote island in Indonesia. I left to Lombok. I left for a very simple life. I lived with the local people in the simplicity where I was volunteering. I was teaching English at local schools, and I was living literally the simple life because that is what I was looking for, and that was the best medicine I could have back then. So I want to tell you two main things. One is that the process itself, the breakdown was massive because everything I had or I was in my life until then crumbled, dissolved completely. There was like nothing left. No material, no relationships, identity dissolved completely. My old self was gone. But the beauty of that, and that's the breakthrough, is that I was there with white canvas. White canvas was my life that was in front of me. And I could paint there what I wanted, not what I should do, not what other people expected from me, not what my family wanted me to be, not what system wanted me to be, but what I wanted to be. I could start painting the life as I want. And that was the amazing freedom that I had and I felt for the first time in my life, that I can do it my way, what feels true, what feels mine, what feels real, without all that conditioning that we are constantly in. And that was amazing feeling. That was amazing feeling, and I would never change that decision. I never regretted that decision. It was one of the best decisions I did in my life, and I'm so happy I did that because since then I live differently. I create differently. I just feel alive. I feel more myself. And I'm creating and building the life in a way that I want, that resonates with me. I'm connected with myself. The life before and after seems like two different lives to me. Also, what I want to mention here is that what helped me to, let's say, rehab from that burnout were was what I can name today nervous system regulation, obviously. Back then, I wouldn't be able to name it that way, but today I do. And that's what I write in my book as well. Those are the ordinary daily things that I use that regulate the nervous system and that get me back to the connection with myself, with my force, with my energy, with my clarity, and so on. And since I always use them when hard situations come. And they basically have all the time the same pattern, the things that I do. It's always connected with simplicity, with nature, ordinary daily life, connection with the right people with you in that moment. So the people who are there just because of who you are, not who they want you to be, just real connections that resonate. So to mention, that was a moment that wasn't my family that would support me in this moment. In this moment, that was my family that disqualified me out of the circle because I didn't fit in their catalog life. I wasn't the one earning money. I was the one who created loss of money. I was the one who was the failure in their eyes. I wasn't the one who needed help, maybe, and a bit of support or a lot of support, but I didn't even get a crumble of it. So it wasn't them, it was strangers on the other side of the planet who I never seen before, who supported me just by being there. There was nothing specific that they had to do. It's just that we were together and they just were there with me just for who I am. And that's it. That's when you are with people where the resonance is, where the connection is, where it's true, where it's real. So that those situations also show you how the people are, and that's very important. So, what I want to tell you with this message is that always when you find yourself in a situation where it's crumbling, where it's falling apart, be aware of the situation, because this is the situation where you can change it. Don't waste your pain, don't waste your experience. Take it, turn it around. Make a fuel out of it for yourself, fuel for your life. Because when it's crumbling down, you know what happened? I actually lost myself, but that's amazing because I lost the one that was conditioned, the identity that wasn't the true, real me. So I'm happy I got those layers of conditioning off me and I can be more myself now. I'm glad that that company and everything that I made the decision, because when I look back, I wouldn't want to do that now. I wouldn't want to live there now. I have different desires. I have different things to do. I live in a different place now. My life is much better now and where I am. And I wouldn't be here if it wouldn't have been of that situation. So even if it looks hard and harsh in that very moment, it's most probably just cleaning the space and the ground for something new, because something new can be built only when the old one is dissolved, broken, left behind. The new one cannot be built on the old. You cannot build a new house on an old one. You can make reconstructions, but if you want to change your reality and make something completely new, you have to let go of something. When you're reconstructing the house, you have to let go of something. You're not going to have the same old kitchen. You're going to have a new one, right? You might change the cables to have a better flow of your electricity or water. So you get it right. So every time you find yourself in the breakdown moments, they have the potential to be the breakthrough moments. And to give you one more example, that is when 2.5 years ago, my husband, I mean, we are not officially married, but it's like that for ourselves. Um, so I always talk about him as about my husband. But to the point, 2.5 years ago, he was arrested and taken to jail. hmm And I found myself alone, living in a foreign country with our son, back then 3 years old, 2.5. And everything was on my shoulders. It was extremely heavy situation. I was taking care of everything, the house, household, the whole situation, the lawyers, and so on, the finances. And the thing is that I could have crumbled down because it was really hard. If I would go into detail why it happened and what everything was going around, we would probably need more time here. And I don't think that's actually important for what I want to say here, because for what I want to say here is that there is no perfect moment to start. And this was the moment that instead of crumbling down, I stopped myself, reconnected, and I started to do what I felt that I am meant to do. What I felt that is my purpose, what I felt that feels fulfilling to me, what I felt that I have to give people and make it into my service. So I started writing a book about actually those simple habits that regulate nervous system. I wrote it for women So, for all the women that are finding themselves in those difficult situations, and they don't need to be dramatic situations, because those are the daily situations when we are pulled to all sides, when we are in the hustle, where we are in the pressure. Those are all the daily moments where we need to reconnect with ourselves. And so on. I started to create offers, projects, spaces for creators so they can build solid foundations to create. And that's what I feel that is something that I have to give here. And again, I took the hard situation, which could have been breakdown, and turned it into my breakthrough. And I created what is truly mine, what feels truly as my purpose, and it's fulfilling. And I am also sharing this with other people. So I'm not holding it for myself, and I am sharing what I'm doing and what is my path with you now in the podcast. I share it on social media. I share it in my book. I share it in my offerings. I share it in my guidance. I share it in my mentoring, because that's what I feel I have to do. And that's because I used that breakdown to make it a breakthrough. If I wouldn't, I would have stayed at a well paid C-level job, but unfulfilled. And I have this feeling my whole life that I want to do and live my life the way that it feels true, that it feels fulfilled, that I feel it's mine. I always, my whole life, I have the feeling we are not supposed to live in a cage 9 to 5, feel unfulfilled, feel drained, doing things that we actually do not want to do. We are not born to this amazing, beautiful planet and world to live like this and to kind of just survive from one day to another to make it all the way to the death. I do believe we are here to create the life that we want, to create something that we are meant to create, because each and every one of us has something inside carrying that should be passed on to other people. Size doesn't matter, but someone can be a breath coach, someone can build a super great, huge company that will serve such a great purpose, but size doesn't matter. The matter is what you are carrying inside and what is meant to be expressed through you, and you are meant to get paid for that. And well, we are meant to live in abundance. We are not meant to survive from one day another. And I have a strong belief about it. If you heard my previous episode, you know already. And those breakdowns are the potent moments. Those are the moments in between where you can really look in the middle of that nothing and build what you want there, so you can make a decision, because there is no perfect moment. You have to decide. It's now, because it's always only now. It won't be later when things get better, more settled, when you feel better, when you get more knowledge. Those are all the loops where you just get stuck. So change your breakdowns into your breakthroughs. If you had any pain in your life, what a waste of the pain it would be if you just wouldn't use it. Share your experience, share what you went through, share how you handled it. It can help and support many people. And make your breakdown your breakthrough, because those are the most potent moments. Thank you for being here in this episode. I will see you in the next one.